Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Tracy Revell, the founder of Embody Confidence.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies. Thank you all for coming this morning. I really would love to go around and find out what drew everybody here, and we don't have that much time. So would love to connect with all of you afterwards as well. All right. So first of all, I want to start with everybody sit up, head over chest, over pelvis. Okay. And close your eyes if you want to, and just bring all of you and into yourself, which could feel a little bit weird and a little bit uncomfortable. And you might not even know how to do it, and that's okay. All right, all of you into you and in your body, noticing yourself sitting on the chair, lifting up and out through the top of your head, just right here, right now. Now, from this place, what is the one thing that you want to bring in for yourself? Could be something different than what you were thinking brought you here. And go ahead and write that down. We're going to be doing some writing, some interaction with others, that sort of thing. Business, life, body, relationships. So first of all, going back to, again, bringing yourself back into yourself. Try to stay there as we go through this morning, right? And just notice, staying in your body, staying right here, right now. Does anybody want to share how that feels? If that feels different? Crickets. You guys have to talk to me. That's part of the deal. You think I'm kidding? No, we will. Thank you. I have no question you will. Go ahead.
Yes, you got that on.
She came in and took over the room before I did.
No, it feels good. Like that's
cool.
Something that I've been practicing is being present and being in the moment and being aware. Not just I have a tendency to constantly be aware of everything that's going around me as opposed to what's going on inside of me. So like flipping that has been really enlightening, if I could use that.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. As women, we are literally hardwired to know what we know in our bodies. And we have been programmed to disconnect from ourselves, to leave ourselves in many, many ways for many, many reasons. Okay? So coming back to that, that is how we are intended to be in this world, especially as women, and to know what we know. Okay? Thoughts, comments, questions? So, first of all, starting with a little bit of a stat that might blow your mind. 89% of kindergartners report having high self-esteem, right? We go into school expecting to succeed, knowing that we are gorgeous, brilliant, talented, and fabulous, right? And then we start to learn about grades, and we start to learn about information outside of us and being told that's right, okay? 20% of fifth graders report having high self-esteem. 5% high schoolers. How about that? So again, we start to get programmed that information outside of us reflects our worthiness. Yeah? Instead of this totally listening to who we are, what we know, okay, and taking that out into the world, we are systematically programmed to fear, tone down our light. It shows up in your body and in your posture. Okay? So, a lot of people go through life like this. Yes or yes?
Yes.
This is defensiveness, sits right here, and closing down your heart space. It's very much a protection. And we've, again, kind of been taught, wired, programmed to live like that, again, for many, many reasons. Yes or yes? Okay, cool. Self-concept, self-image, right? Self-concept is really how you see yourself in the world, right? Your image, that how you're being in the world, how you're projecting yourself. What does self-esteem mean? They are a little bit different. What does that mean? People always tell me that. What does that mean? I get it, and?
How you value yourself.
How you value yourself? Right, cool. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Taking pride in yourself, what you could do.
Taking pride in yourself?
And what you are.
Wonderful. Yeah. So, again, that I know what I know and really shining your light and embodying it. Self-esteem. Would you guys agree? Right? Does this look like you're shining? So, another fun fact, I have lots. This posture was not really found anywhere before like the last 20 or 30 years, something like that, except in concentration camp survivors. And now it's everywhere, tucked under and collapsed. Yeah? Go ahead. So what if your outward presence reflects your self-esteem and authentic confidence? How you be in your body, period. All the time. So in the workplace, we've got, do we have any men here? There's lots of masculine energy that we have been told we have to be in to actually function and get ahead. Yes or yes? It is exhausting, yes or yes?
Yes.
So we are not wired that way. So when we start to operate from that space, we start to look bitchy. So what if you could learn how to stay in that centered, embodied, grounded space and still go out into the badass, masculine, action, focus place? Would you like to have that? Is that why y'all are here? Fitting in is trying to assimilate, whereas belonging doesn't ask us to change. It asks us to be authentic. What do you hear whenever you hear the word authentic?
Real.
What does that mean? Cool. True to yourself. Okay. Anybody else? Free?
Free to be yourself.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay. Natural? What is natural? Yeah. There is a lot of stuff that bounces around on Facebook about being authentic. Yes or yes? There's also a lot out there about like body image, and if you don't like it and, you know, this is how I am and so forth. That's not authenticity. That's defensiveness and protection, right? It's like if we really want to shift something within ourselves, if we really want to change our bodies, instead of, it's like, okay, what's here? And being really, truly okay instead of, can you guys feel the difference? So can you think of somebody in life that runs out of that defensive space and what that does to you? Can you start to touch how that affects everybody around us? What beliefs we come from? Everything we think and feel, we are. And it shows up in our bodies in one way, shape, or form. Has anybody heard of Louise Hay, Carolyn Meese? Okay, so Louise Hay is kind of the founder of body, mind, emotion, spirit medicine and really decoding what's showing up in your body and what it means and your stuff, if you will, that you have in your life. Carolyn Meese is a medical intuitive that works a lot with it. So making a few adjustments, okay, embodied, will skyrocket your success personally and professionally. learning how to be in that feminine center in yourself and take that out into being a badass. Do you want more of that? How you doing with being in your body?
Good.
Good. Did anybody lose it? Gotta admit it. You can't change unless we admit where we are, right? So bring yourself back into yourself and just notice how this feels. Okay, how do you feel? Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. Just what do you notice? Go ahead and jot it down anywhere. Just a couple thoughts on how that feels. All right, so everybody take that and sit up again for me. Head over chest, over pelvis, okay? And again, close your eyes. Bring all of you into you. Imagine that there's a vase of water on top of your head. Lift up and out through the top of your head to hold it up. Beautiful. Imagine that there's a string on your sternum, on your heart center, and let it lift up and out. And then everybody, imagine the bottom pointy ends of your shoulder blades, okay? Let them, allow them to slide back and down, okay? So that the bottom pointy ends of your shoulder blades aim towards each other and into your lower back, lifting up and out through your heart and then up and out through your head. Now, how many of you girls went like this? Is that it? Just one person? So that's force. That's the masculine. That's what we've been taught we have to do to change our bodies and to get ahead. Yes? What if it's the exact opposite? Try it again. Allowance. Shoulder blades back and down, heart center up and out, head tall. Bring all of you into you. What does this feel like? Was that different? Peaceful? Connected? Anybody else? Powerful. Nice. Different than the force, right? Different power. Did anybody notice visibly how it kind of shifted emotionally, mentally? Presence, focus. More into the internal. Go ahead and stand up. Please. Hands on your hips. Feet are about hip width apart. Drop into the ground, connect in. Now what does this feel like?
Power stance.
Power stance? Mm-hmm. Huh? You feel like a tree? That's kind of cool though. Yeah. So trees, rooted, grounded, and they still sway. They still flow. Roots flow with what's around us. Anybody else? Y'all are quiet. One more person. What does this feel like? Sweet. Superwoman?
Powerful.
Okay, now feet shoulder width apart. What does that feel like? Free? Being seen. Exposed. Cool. Anybody else in the back? Nice, big. So once again, y'all can put your hands down. We're taught to fear our light, our bigness, and to tone it down. What if you can start to embody some of this? Did you feel how each one of those kind of shifted internally as well? Assuming that all of y'all have seen like the power posturing and using these before interviews. And I have some, again, really cool studies on all of that. I can send you if you want to see more of it. And my work is taking it more from just working with power postures before interviews and, you know, in meetings and so forth, but taking it into rewiring how you're showing up in your life and rewiring how your mind and your body connect in your life. How are you doing staying in your body? Better? Sweet. What if it's just a practice? What if you can learn? Would you like to? Cool. Yay. Go for it. So first of all, going back to self-esteem, self-image, self-confidence. What is personal power? Personal power is self-esteem. Okay? So the first thing I do with all of my clients is I have you define your definition of personal power. So I have this one woman who works in the aviation industry, and she does proposals and so forth, and so very male dominated, right? She's like 5'10", and she's a large woman, but she carries the energy of Jackie O. Yeah? So it took us a couple months, and her definition of personal power became honoring my elegance. Right? So, working in a male-dominated industry, can you see how really embodying honoring my elegance would change everything? Ooh, did y'all just feel that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Since we're all interconnected now, we're like in the feminine. Cool. Yeah. I had another client who had a lot of trauma with an ex alienating a child from her and yada, yada, yada. And, came from way back in early programming. And when she started with me, her definition of personal power was, I am good enough. She was so beaten down. My definition is internal direction with the absence of outside forces, right? I know what I know. And she wanted it. She just couldn't touch it. So by the end of our time together, she was probably 50% where she could bring that in. But she was so beaten down. So it's just wherever you are, right? And it's your reflection of your internal personal power, self-esteem. Who am I and what am I being and how do I want to be in this world? What is feminine power? This is my favorite subject in the entire world. Oh, girlfriend. Yes, ma'am.
I think a lot of feminine power is mental and emotional,
Yes.
as opposed to being physical.
Yes.
So like your intuition and being able to trust that, and you know things but you don't know why you know them, but be able to trust that what you know is right.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if it's that simple and that hard? Let me go out and hold up the sword. Feminine power is the exact opposite of that. Sometimes we do need to fight. Fighting from that internal, I know what I know, centered, grounded space is actually our strength. Going out and getting in somebody's face is a weakness, and we will not get as far as we could if we come from the soft, internal, embodied space. Okay? Feminine power, internal. Masculine power is external. It's that simple and that challenging to learn how to be with both. And both of them are appropriate at some times, and then both together appropriate at some times. Yeah? So what is presence? So we've talked about this a few times already. What is shifting within you with your understanding of your presence? Our presence is how we show up in the world, how others perceive us. It's actually a reflection of our abundance within ourselves. Do you want to write that down? It's like my favorite thing to say. Your presence is a reflection of your abundance within yourself. It is a sum total of self-care, self-support, moving your body, exercise, nutrition, right? Beliefs. Our presence in the world is a reflection of how we are taking care of ourselves, how we're showing up for ourselves in all ways.
Probably the most ignored thing women do, self-care.
Self-care and self-support. One of my clients the other day she came up with that she's a life coach, and she helps women with like self-care and self-support. Do you let word self-support Does that resonate with y'all? Right? Instead of just the airy-fairy self-love that's out there. Can you, yeah? So self-love is as simple as from second to second choosing what's best for you, right? This situation to this situation, it might look like the same situation and you choose differently in that same situation the next time you encounter it. So to me, self-support is like the internal, grounded, taking care of myself, but still letting in outside support too. That's self-love too, asking for support from the external as well. Okay, so let's practice a little bit of this. Everybody turn to your neighbor. Okay, so start, ladies, with bringing all of you back into you, okay? Like we've been practicing. Notice the uncomfortability. That's okay. We grow out of uncomfortability. You guys face each other. So everybody close your eyes. Okay, head over chest over pelvis, shoulder blades back and down. Heart center lifting up and out like there's a string on your sternum. Bring all of you into you and just ask your body, what would bring personal power at your core? What would having more of that change for you in your personal and professional life? Share for 2 minutes with your partner, okay? What would having personal power at your core change in your personal and professional life? Staying with all of the excitement, staying with all of the embodiment, staying with that connection to yourself and the other woman. What did you know? How would having personal power at your core change your personal and professional life? Just a few words. What came out that you weren't aware of? That you were aware of? How did it feel? Staying in yourself and connecting with the other person or not? There is no right or wrong answer. It's just a learning, a rewiring. There are a lot of people that are like, I have read the book, right? Great ideas. I actually teach you how to live them and embody them and change how you're showing up from the inside out. Number one, speak impeccably, impeccability with your word. Say what you mean what you say, do what you say you're going to do. Also, say what you mean what you say, okay? We have developed this way of telling stories to diffuse and deflect our power. Does anybody notice that in themselves or have noticed that in other people? Yes? So I teach you to rewire that. When you learn to change your language, changing it internally also changes it externally, how you're showing up. Yes? Number two, don't take things personally. Pretty much the hardest one for everybody. We are taught to take care of everybody else, and nobody actually takes care of themselves. So we all ping around off of everybody else's stuff, trying to fix each other, instead of staying here, right? When we're here, it gives everybody else the chance to be there too. Can you see how that would change everything? Don't make assumptions. And we all do it. We interpret this world through judgment, just is what it is. Our mind's job is to categorize. That's a picture, is a judgment. So clarifying so we know what that person is saying instead of just going out of our own perception. Okay? Last but not least, always do your best in getting really, really clear if it is your best or if you're cheating yourself. And there's this really fine line. Boundaries need to be created within ourselves first. And it takes practice. How might you be sabotaging your own personal power? Next question. Personal power is self-esteem as well as an individualized reflection of who every person is at their unique core. Is that a cool way of understanding it? Right. Just write a few notes. How are you sabotaging. What does it look like for you? People with a strong sense of personal power communicate more effectively, are results and solutions oriented while remaining flexible, have superior productivity, are happier. That's important. Have a higher sense of significance and effectiveness, stay centered and grounded, are able to maintain focus, and are more successful in life. So, can you see how really living out of true authenticity, feminine power, personal power, affects your confidence? Embodying that. I've had a lot of people tell me in the last year, just really watching me bring the masculine and the feminine pieces into my work even deeper, they've really felt a difference. I mean, I grew up really, short version of my story, learning how to be invisible, to take care of everybody else. My mother died when I was 9 3/4, and she died about 6 months to the day that she went in the hospital. And my brother, she died 5 days after my brother turned 5. My brother is like, we have the most amazing relationship now. I mean, so, and my brother and I bounced around 3 or 4 different families in the 6 months that she was in the hospital. And then she died, and my father, we had 3 or 4 different housekeepers in 6 months after she died. My father had a business. He's completely emotionally, my dad. And he still is. I just spent the weekend with him. And then my stepmother moved in 6 months after my mom died, and he married her 11 months after my mother died. I'm a daddy's girl, always have been, always will be. And he was losing his business. He lost the love of his life. He had 2 kids. It was 1978. He's completely emotionally inept. I started taking care of my dad. It's all I could do. So I learned to become invisible. So the first probably 19 years of my life was taking care of everybody else, being invisible. I learned how to go along to get along. Can you relate? Yeah. I started therapy at 19. I started teaching aerobics actually at 16 years old. My pelvis is tilted and rotated, so my back went out for the first time when I was 23, like on my back flat, couldn't move, went out. So I started learning how to rewire mind and body and movement. And then I got, I teach Nia. Does anybody know what Nia is? Okay, so Nia was my life. Well, you know, because that was still my life when we first met. So Nia was my life for like 13 years. And Nia is very much body, mind, emotion, spirit, feminine, masculine in movement. And then I got a Pilates certification. I have a corrective holistic exercise kinesiology certification, so forth. You get the idea. I started sitting in women's circles in my mid-20s, right? Goddess circles, dancing around with women twice my age, you know, when I was in my mid-20s. So the feminine and what that truly is started really early for me, getting into more metaphysical work, energy work, belief work, coaching toward the end of my 20s, mid-30s, so forth. So probably in the last 4 years, all of my pieces started coming together as it is now. So that is embodied confidence. I've not always been here. I started, first 19 years were being visible, and after that, the last, how old am I? 25-ish, have been being completely visible, authenticity from the inside out. Okay? You can do it. And it takes accountability and focus. I would not be here if I hadn't had my mentors, my coaches, all the friends, people in my life supporting me. So focusing on developing emotional intelligence. So again, it's a big buzzword in corporate right now. Yes or yes. Emotional intelligence. Y'all hear it all the time. What the hell does it mean? Does anybody know? Can you tell me? What if emotional intelligence is feminine power? Feminine power, emotional intelligence, internal. Masculine power, intellectual intelligence, external. Do you need both of them to really rock your life? Do you have both of them right now?
Yes.
Cool. Would anybody venture to guess what's more important here? Tone? Body?
Well, it depends on the situation.
Paula?
Yes, ma'am. Oh.
You're good. Communication. 50%, 57% body. Does that blow your mind a little bit? Body language, again, it's another big buzzword out there, yes? It's not just body language. It's not just how to force your body into something. It's how you're showing up in your body. It communicates. 36% tone. How many people have had an email and it's like, you can't really hear the tone and it's kind of created a big problem, and it's always better to jump on the phone. I tell all my clients, I'm like, if you're following up, always see if you can jump on the call with somebody. Connect. We all need that connection. And then 7% words. A few of you guys said words, right? We are wired to really tap into the presence underneath everything else. It's not just what we say, it's who we be. Beliefs are literally chemical reactions in the body. Thoughts, feelings, beliefs. The nervous system, mind and body, countless connections can be made and changed. Our neural connections are always looking for new pathways. Emotional intelligence, knowing what you know, coming from your center, embodied, taking that out into strong, direct, focused action, external, intellectual intelligence. Guts and grace. Grace, the feminine. Guts, showing up full on. When you embrace your feminine body and heart-centered creativity, balanced with masculine focus and action, becoming more sure of yourself within yourself, and that centered, grounded, powerful presence. From that space, instead of getting wigged out onto everybody else outside of us, which is what we tend to do, we can stay in that centered, grounded, powerful presence, extraordinary performance instead of being thrown off all the time, being more effective and being a superior leader. Feminine leadership is effective leadership. It's holding space for and letting people find their own answers and still directing at the same time. Kind of like a mother. How many of you love to be told what to do? Raise your hand. That's totally masculine. The way you carry your body is a sign of your personal power. So would you like to take the chances to bring this in more for you into your life? Yes or yes? Are you ready? Do you know there's some things that can shift for you to bring in more for you? So that's on the back. What gaps are you currently experiencing in your life, yourself, your body, and your business? Just a few notes. What unique capabilities do you need to develop and empower to fill these gaps? What will you commit to developing over the next 4 to 6 months that will rock your world? Are you ready to do it? Are you more ready to do it now than when you got here? Yes? So go back to the beginning. Head over chest over pelvis. Bring yourself back into yourself. How do you feel about creating that one thing for yourself now? Feel into it. Does it feel a little more manageable? Just notice we've already done some work with rewiring. So building on that. So do you have the guts? Are you ready to show up full on? Yes or yes? Raise your hand. All right. So that is our presentation today. Did you learn something? Yes. Did it kind of blow your circuits? Thank you, Chris, for having us.